Jack Miller stared out the viewport of the transport ship horizon. The beautiful blue-green planet of Celestia Prime grew larger as they approached. He could hardly believe he was here, millions of light-years from Earth, about to attend the most prestigious school in the galaxy. "Can you believe we got selected?" Lisa Brooks asked, floating up beside him in the low-gravity section of the ship. Her brown hair drifted around her face like she was underwater. Jack shook his head. Not really, there were thousands of applicants. They were just ordinary students from Midwest State University with decent grades and an interest in alien biology. Nothing special. Yet somehow they had been chosen for the Interstellar Academic Exchange Program. "Do you think they know what they're getting into by inviting humans?" Lisa asked, her voice quieter now. Jack turned to look at her. "What do you mean?" "Well, Earth is classified as a Category 5 planet, a death world." She gestured toward the approaching planet. "And that is definitely not." She was right. According to their orientation materials, Celestia Prime was a paradise. Perfect weather year-round. No dangerous animals, no diseases, no natural disasters. It was classified as Category 1 on the Galactic Habitability Scale. "Maybe that's why they picked us," Jack suggested. "We're interesting to them." A soft chime sounded throughout the ship, and the captain's voice followed. "All passengers, please prepare for atmospheric entry. We will be landing at Galactic Unity Academy in approximately 30 minutes. Jack and Lisa returned to their seats and secured their safety harnesses. As the ship descended through the atmosphere, they got their first real look at Celestia Prime. Unlike Earth with its mix of environments, everything here looked perfect. The forests were uniformly green, the waters crystal clear, the cities gleaming with towers that seemed to be made of light. "It looks like something from a dream," Lisa whispered. The ship landed gently on a platform that hovered above the ground. When the doors opened, Jack and Lisa were hit with the sweetest air they had ever breathed. It was like inhaling pure spring, with hints of flowers they couldn't name. A tall, slender being with blue skin and 4 arms stood waiting at the bottom of the ramp. It, or rather she, according to the translator badge on Jack's collar, smiled with lips that had no teeth behind them. "Welcome to Galactic Unity Academy. I am Administrator Nala. You must be our Earth students." Jack stepped forward. "Yes, I'm Jack Miller and this is Lisa Brooks." Administrator Nala's eyes widened slightly. "Fascinating. You look so resilient. Please follow me. I'll show you to your living quarters." As they walked through the campus, Jack and Lisa couldn't help but stare. The building seemed to be grown rather than built, with smooth curves instead of sharp corners. Students of all shapes and sizes moved about. Some floated, some crawled, some walked on too many legs to count easily. The academy hosts students from 57 different worlds, Administrator Nala explained. "You are our first from a Category 5 planet." "Is that unusual?" Lisa asked. "Very. Most sentient species evolve on Category 1 or 2 worlds, occasionally 3, almost never on 4 or 5. Nala looked at them with something like wonder. "Your species must be remarkably tough to survive such conditions." Jack and Lisa exchanged a glance. On Earth, they were just average. Jack had been on his high school swim team but never won any medals. Lisa had once broken her arm falling from a tree when she was 10. They didn't feel particularly tough. "Your rooms are here," Nala said, stopping at a door that slid open at her approach. "You'll find everything has been adjusted to Earth standard gravity and atmosphere. Your class schedule is on the data tablets inside." "Thank you," Lisa said. "Oh, and Professor Zixal is particularly excited to meet you. You'll be giving a presentation about Earth in his Comparative Planetary Studies class tomorrow." Before they could respond, Nala was already gliding away to help other new arrivals. Their rooms were simple but comfortable, with strange plants growing from the walls that seemed to adjust the lighting based on their mood. After settling in, they checked their schedules on the tablets. "Looks like we have most classes together," Jack said. "Xenobiology, interstellar relations, unified physics, and comparative planetary studies first thing tomorrow morning." Lisa groaned. "A presentation on our first day?" What are we supposed to tell them about Earth? The truth, I guess. Jack scratched his head, though I'm not sure they're ready for it. The next morning, they found Professor Zixal's classroom easily enough. It was a circular room with seats arranged in tiers. The professor himself was unlike anything they had seen before, a six-limbed being with iridescent scales and huge, compound eyes that reflected back multiple images of whoever he looked at. "Ah, our Earth students have arrived." His voice was melodic, coming from vibrating membranes on his neck. "Please, come in, come in." The other students watched them with obvious curiosity. Some leaned away slightly as Jack and Lisa passed. "Class, these are our special exchange students from Earth, a Category 5 world," Professor Zixal announced. "They will be giving us a presentation today about their homeworld." A murmur went through the classroom. Jack heard whispered translations of words like dangerous and how are they still alive? We didn't prepare anything formal," Lisa began, looking nervous. "No need for formality. Just tell us about everyday life on your planet," the professor encouraged. Jack stepped forward. "Well, Earth has a lot of different environments. Deserts, forests, oceans, mountains, Arctic regions. Humans live in most of them." "And are there many predators?" asked a student with tentacles and large eyes. "Sure," Jack said. "Wolves, bears, lions, sharks, crocodiles, but they generally stay away from cities." "Venomous creatures?" asked another, student who seemed to be made of living crystal. Lisa nodded. "Snakes, spiders, scorpions, jellyfish, and lots of others." The crystal student's surface clouded slightly. "And you coexist with these things?" "We have to," Jack explained. "They're part of our ecosystems." Professor Zixal's compound eyes reflected their images back at them. "And what about your planet itself? Is it stable?" Lisa laughed a little. "Not really. We have earthquakes, volcanoes, hurricanes, tornadoes, tsunamis, floods, droughts." She trailed off as she noticed the entire class had gone completely silent. Even Professor Zixal seemed frozen. Any one of those events would be considered a planetary emergency on most worlds, the professor finally said. "They're just normal for us," Jack said with a shrug. "We build stronger buildings, create warning systems, and learn how to prepare for them." A student near the front raised a limb. "Do humans ever die from these normal events?" "Of course," Lisa answered. "But we adapt and keep going." The silence in the classroom deepened. Jack suddenly realized that they weren't just exchange students, here to learn about alien cultures. They were representatives of a species that these aliens found almost impossibly dangerous, and their real education of the galaxy, and the galaxy's education about humans, was just beginning. The silence in the classroom stretched on until Professor Zixal finally cleared his throat, or what passed for a throat on his iridescent body. "Well, that was illuminating," he said. "Thank you, Jack and Lisa. Please take your seats. We will continue with our regular lesson now." Jack and Lisa found empty spots at the back of the room. As they sat down, the other students moved slightly away, creating a small empty circle around them. Lisa leaned over to Jack. "I think we scared them," she whispered. "We didn't even get to the really dangerous stuff," Jack whispered back. "Like diseases or wars." A small green alien with large ears and 4 eyes turned around to look at them. "There's more?" it asked in a squeaky voice. Jack nodded. "A lot more." The alien made a soft whimpering sound and turned back around. For the rest of the class, Professor Zixal talked about different planetary classifications. Category 1 planets were paradise worlds with perfect conditions for life. Category 2 had minor seasonal changes but no real dangers. Category 3 had occasional natural events like mild storms. Category 4 had more serious environmental challenges. Then, there was Category 5 Deathworlds, planets with extreme conditions, deadly wildlife, unpredictable weather, and natural disasters. Places where life had to fight to survive every day. Earth is one of only 3 known inhabited Category 5 worlds, Professor Zixal said. And humans are the only species from such a world to achieve faster-than-light travel on their own. All eyes turned to Jack and Lisa again. After class, they were surprised when several students approached them. The questions came rapid fire. Is it true your world has invisible life forms that can kill you? Do you really have water that falls from the sky? How often do the ground shakings happen? Jack held up his hands. Whoa, one at a time. Yes, we have bacteria and viruses. Yes, we have rain. That's normal. And earthquakes happen all the time, but most are too small to feel. A tall, thin alien with skin like tree bark introduced herself as Pell. Many of us are curious about Earth. Would you join us for mealtime? We have many questions. Jack and Lisa looked at each other and shrugged. Sure, Lisa said. The dining hall was a large open space with food stations serving dishes from dozens of worlds. Jack and Lisa followed Pell to a table where several other students were already seated. These are the humans, Pell announced. A blob-like creature with eyes on stalks oozed forward slightly. I am Gloop. How do you defend yourselves from predators? You have no claws, no armor, no venom. We use tools, Jack explained. We build shelters and weapons. Plus, we can run pretty fast when we need to. And we live in groups, Lisa added. Safety in numbers. A bird-like alien with metallic feathers tilted its head. Do all humans know how to fight? Lisa shook her head. Not anymore. Long ago, maybe. Now we have specialized protectors, police and military. Military? Asked a student with 6 legs and a hard shell. What is that? Jack and Lisa exchanged a glance. How to explain the concept of armies to species that had never known war? It's complicated, Jack said finally. Humans sometimes fight each other over resources or ideas. The military is trained for those conflicts. The table fell silent again. You fight each other? Pell asked, her bark-like skin rustling. Intentionally? Lisa nodded slowly. Human history is full of wars. We're not proud of it, but it's part of who we are. The silence grew uncomfortable, until Gloop spoke again. Your food is getting cold. Jack looked down at his plate. The Academy had tried to recreate Earth food. The burger looked almost right, though the color was slightly off. He took a bite. It tasted like beef, but sweeter. Not bad, he said with a smile. The conversation shifted to lighter topics. The aliens wanted to know about Earth music, games, and clothing. Jack and Lisa found themselves explaining everything from baseball to rock and roll. By the end of the meal, the initial fears seemed to have faded somewhat. As they were leaving, Pell touched Lisa's arm gently. Tomorrow is the physical adaptation. Class, will you join us? Professor Yulin would be very interested to see human capabilities. Sure, Lisa said. What kind of class is it? We demonstrate our adaptations to our home environments, Pell explained. Strength, speed, sensory abilities, that sort of thing. The next morning, Jack and Lisa found the physical adaptation class in a large open room with padded floors and various equipment. Professor Yulin was a floating ball of blue light who spoke in a deep, resonant voice. Ah, our Earth students, welcome. I've heard so much about your Deathworld physiology. Would you be willing to demonstrate some human capabilities? We're just average humans, Jack warned. Nothing special. Even better, the professor boomed. Let's start with basic strength assessment. The test was simple. Lift increasingly heavy weights until you couldn't anymore. Jack went first. He wasn't a bodybuilder, but he worked out sometimes. He lifted 50 pounds easily, then 100, then 150. He strained but managed 200 pounds before stopping. The class watched in amazement. Extraordinary, Professor Yulin exclaimed. That's nearly 4 times the strength of a Category A Celestian, and done with pure muscle, not telekinesis or hydraulic limbs. Lisa was next. She wasn't as strong as Jack, but still managed 120 pounds, which apparently was impressive by galactic standards. Now for endurance, the professor said. How long can you maintain physical activity? Jack shrugged. Depends on the activity. I can jog for about an hour. An hour of continuous movement? Professor Yulin seemed shocked. Without rest? Well, yeah, Jack said. Some humans run marathons. That's over 26 miles, taking hours. The floating professor dimmed slightly. which seemed to be his version of amazement. "What about pain tolerance?" asked a student. "That's not something we can easily demonstrate," Lisa said with a laugh. "But humans can continue functioning even when injured, correct?" The professor asked. Jack nodded. "We can push through a lot of pain if we have to." "Fascinating," Professor Yulin said. "On most worlds, pain indicates serious damage. The organism stops to heal. But on a death world, stopping might mean death." "I guess we never thought about it that way," Lisa said. As they demonstrated more human abilities, holding their breath, handling temperature changes, reaction speeds, Jack realized something important. What seemed ordinary to them was extraordinary to everyone else. The things humans took for granted, their resilience, their adaptability, their endurance, were superpowers here. And class by class, meal by meal, the aliens were starting to look at them not with fear, but with something that looked a lot like respect. Word about the amazing Deathworlders spread quickly through Galactic Unity Academy. By the end of their first week, Jack and Lisa found themselves minor celebrities. Students would point at them in hallways. Some brave ones would approach to ask questions about Earth. "Do humans really sleep for a third of every day?" asked a student made of something like living crystal. "Yes, we need about 8 hours of sleep," Lisa explained. "Fascinating. And you become unconscious during this time? Completely vulnerable?" The crystal being shimmered, and what Jack had learned was their way of showing surprise. "Well, we can wake up if there's danger," Jack said. "Loud noises, strange smells, that kind of thing. Your species evolved to be unconscious for 8 hours every day on a planet full of predators," the crystal being said. "And you survived. Remarkable." These interactions happened almost daily now. Jack and Lisa started keeping a list of things that surprised the aliens about humans. Eating 3 times a day, drinking water constantly, healing from wounds without medical intervention, sweating to cool down, growing more hair when cold. One morning, they received a message from Administrator Nala. Professor Zixal wanted them to give a detailed presentation about Earth's ecosystems to the entire school. "He wants us to talk about what?" Lisa asked, reading the message again. "Daily survival challenges on Earth," Jack read. "How humans adapt to different environments, deal with predators, survive natural disasters." "They really find this stuff interesting," Lisa said. "I guess when you evolve on a perfect world, danger becomes fascinating." They spent the next few days preparing their presentation. They gathered images of Earth's most extreme environments: the frozen Antarctic, the burning Sahara, the crushing depths of the Mariana Trench. They compiled videos of hurricanes, earthquakes, and volcanic eruptions. They created a timeline of Earth's worst natural disasters and the deadliest predators. On the day of the presentation, the Academy's main hall was packed. Not just students, but faculty and even some visitors from nearby planets had come to hear about the Deathworld. Professor Zixal introduced them with obvious excitement. "What you are about to learn may seem impossible. Remember that these humans, before you, are not exceptional specimens of their kind. They are, by their own admission, quite average." Jack started the presentation with basic Earth facts. "Our planet has 1 moon and orbits an average yellow star. The gravity is 9.8 meters per second squared. The atmosphere is 78% nitrogen, 21% oxygen, and 1% other gases." Lisa continued, "Earth has a molten core, which creates a magnetic field that protects us from solar radiation. But this molten core also causes tectonic plate movement, which leads to earthquakes and volcanic eruptions." They showed videos of major earthquakes, buildings collapsing, ground splitting open. The audience gasped. "The San Francisco earthquake of 1906 destroyed 80% of the city," Jack explained. "The 2004 Indian Ocean earthquake created tsunamis that killed over 200,000 people." "How do you survive such events?" asked a faculty member from the back. "We build stronger buildings," Lisa said. "We create warning systems. We teach children what to do during disasters from a young age." Jack advanced to the next section about weather. "Our planet has extreme weather patterns: hurricanes with winds over 150 miles per hour, tornadoes that can lift houses, blizzards that drop several feet of snow in hours. They showed footage of these events, the destruction they caused, the way humans rebuilt afterward. And what about disease? Professor Zixal asked. I understand your world is filled with microscopic threats. Lisa nodded. We call them bacteria and viruses. They're everywhere, in the soil, the water, the air we breathe. Our bodies are constantly fighting them off. Sometimes they win. You mean these invisible enemies can kill you? Asked a student. They have killed billions of humans throughout our history, Jack said. The Black Death killed about a third of Europe's population in the 14th century. The 1918 flu pandemic killed 50 million people worldwide. A ripple of horror went through the room. But we adapted, Lisa quickly added. We developed medicines, vaccines, better hygiene practices. We learned to fight back. The next section was about predators. They showed images of lions, tigers, wolves, bears, sharks, crocodiles, venomous snakes, and spiders. These creatures evolved alongside us, Jack explained. They shaped human evolution. We had to become smarter, faster, more cooperative to survive. And, these still exist on your world? Asked a faculty member, eyes wide. Yes, Lisa said. We protect many of them. They're important parts of our ecosystems. You protect them? The question came from a small blue alien near the front. Creatures that can kill you? Jack nodded. Life on Earth exists in balance. Remove one species and others can get out of control. They moved to the final section about human adaptation. Humans have settled in nearly every environment on Earth, Lisa said, showing images of cities in deserts, in Arctic regions, in dense jungles. We've climbed the highest mountains. We've explored the deepest oceans. We've even lived in space. How? Professor Zixal asked simply. We change our environment when we can, Jack explained. We build shelter, create climate control, purify water. And when we can't change the environment, we adapt ourselves. We develop tools, techniques, technology. But it goes deeper than that, Lisa added. Humans are driven to explore, to push boundaries. We see a mountain, we want to climb it. We see an ocean, we want to cross it. We see the stars. She gestured to the window where Earth's sun was just a tiny dot of light. And this drive comes from your Deathworld origins? Professor Zixal asked. Jack thought about it. Maybe. When survival isn't guaranteed, you develop a certain determination. As the presentation ended, the hall erupted in applause, or what passed for applause among species with tentacles or wings instead of hands. Administrator Nala approached them after most of the audience had left. That was quite enlightening. I believe many here see humans in a new light now. What do you mean? Lisa asked. When you first arrived, many viewed you as unfortunate creatures from a dangerous world, Nala explained. Now they see you as... I believe the closest translation would be survivors, or perhaps warriors. Jack laughed. We're just college students. Perhaps on Earth, Nala said. But here, you represent something most species have never encountered, a life form that evolved in constant danger and emerged stronger for it. As they walked back to their rooms, Jack and Lisa noticed something had changed. The other students weren't moving away from them anymore. Instead, they moved aside respectfully, like one might for an honored guest. Or maybe, Jack thought, like one might for a predator. The day after their big presentation, Jack and Lisa were invited to join an advanced xenobiology class. The regular teacher, Professor Kilnar, wanted them to share insights about Earth's ecosystem. When they entered the classroom, everyone fell, silent. Professor Kilnar, a tall being with blue skin and 4 arms, welcomed them warmly. Our honored Earth students will help us understand predator-prey relationships today, she announced. On most galactic worlds, true predators died out as species became sentient, but on Earth, they still exist alongside humans. A student raised a tentacle. Is it true humans were once prey animals? Jack looked at Lisa, unsure how to answer. Well, early humans were sometimes hunted by larger predators, yes, but we were predators too. We evolved as hunter-gatherers. You hunted? For food, The question came from a small, plant-like being in the back. Yes, Lisa said. For most of human history, we had to hunt animals or gather plants to survive. We still eat other animals, though now we usually raise them for food. This caused another stir in the classroom. Professor Kilnar explained to Jack and Lisa. Most sentient species evolved from herbivores or filter feeders. Species with predatory instincts rarely develop higher intelligence. That's not true on Earth, Jack said. Dolphins, orcas, and octopuses are all highly intelligent predators. Even some birds like crows and ravens show problem-solving abilities and they eat meat. The professor's four hands made quick notes on her tablet. Fascinating. Your world has produced multiple predatory intelligences. The questions continued for the entire class. By the end, Jack felt like he had learned as much about galactic evolution as the aliens had learned about Earth. As they left, Professor Kilnar asked if they would be willing to help with more classes. Your perspective is invaluable. Most of our xenobiology theories never considered worlds like Earth. Over the next few weeks, Jack and Lisa found themselves invited to classes across many departments. In geology, they explained how humans predicted volcanic eruptions. In meteorology, they described hurricane tracking systems. In medicine, they talked about vaccines and antibiotics. One afternoon, they were asked to visit the Academy's engineering department. Professor Vex, a being with multiple mechanical limbs attached to a central pod, greeted them enthusiastically. The Deathworlders. Welcome. His voice came from a speaker on his metallic body. I've been hoping to meet you. Nice to meet you, too, Lisa said, looking around the lab. Strange devices hummed and blinked on every surface. I'm working on something revolutionary, Professor Vex said, guiding them toward a large machine in the center of the room. An environmental simulator. It can recreate conditions from any world in the galaxy. The machine was a clear chamber about the size of a small room. Inside, a swirling mist changed colors as they watched. Currently set to simulate the atmosphere of Mira 3, a gas giant, Vex explained. But I've been working on an Earth simulation. Would you help me calibrate it? Jack shrugged. Sure, but why would you want to simulate Earth? Professor Vex's mechanical eyes blinked rapidly. For research, for preparation. Since your presentation, many students have expressed interest in visiting Earth someday. Really? Lisa was surprised. Even after hearing about all the dangers? Especially after hearing about them, Vex said. You've sparked something in our students. Curiosity, perhaps, or something more primal. The professor adjusted some controls, and the chamber cleared. Then new mist formed. Heavier, more like normal air but with visible particles floating in it. This represents Earth's atmosphere, Vex said. Oxygen, nitrogen, carbon dioxide, plus various pollutants, pollen, dust, bacteria. Jack peered at the chamber. Looks about right, though I can't see all that stuff in the air normally. And this. Vex pressed another button. A rumbling sound came from beneath the chamber, and the floor inside trembled. A minor earthquake simulation. Magnitude 3.2 on your Richter scale. Lisa nodded. That's pretty good. Most humans would notice that, but not panic. Excellent. Vex made more adjustments. The chamber now showed rain falling, then heavier rain, then driving sheets of water with howling wind. Hurricane conditions. Maybe dial it back a bit, Jack suggested. That looks like a Category 4 or 5. Those are pretty rare. Professor Vex seemed almost disappointed as he reduced the intensity. Your species regularly survives events like these? Well, we take shelter during the worst storms, Lisa explained. We don't just stand out in them. Of course, of course. Vex turned off the simulator. But you understand my point. The conditions your species considers survivable would be catastrophic on most worlds. As they left the engineering lab, Jack noticed a group of students following them at a distance. It wasn't the first time this had happened. Since their presentation, they'd acquired a kind of fan club. They're watching us again, he muttered to Lisa. I know. It's getting weird. She waved at the students, who quickly pretended to be looking at something else. That evening, as they ate dinner in the Academy's main dining hall, Administrator Nala approached their table. I'm pleased to inform you that your presentation has created quite a stir, she said. The Galactic Education Council has requested a full report on human adaptability. That's good? Jack wasn't sure how to respond. Very good, Nala confirmed. They're considering adding Earth to the list of required study planets for all xenobiology students. Lisa looked surprised. I thought they only studied important planets. Precisely. Nala's lipless mouth curved in what they now recognized as a smile. Your world has been reclassified as evolutionarily significant. The survival pressures on Earth have produced unique adaptations not seen elsewhere. Jack felt a strange pride. Earth, their ordinary home, was now considered special. There's more, Nala continued. Several faculty members have proposed a new research initiative, the Deathworld Adaptation Study. They want to understand how species like humans develop resilience, problem-solving, and cooperative behaviors under survival pressure. And they want us to help, Lisa guessed. Nala nodded. You would be consultants. The study could help other species prepare for changing conditions on their own worlds. What do you mean? Jack asked. Nala looked uncomfortable for a moment. The galaxy is not as stable as most like to believe. Climate shifts, stellar events, even conflicts between species, these things happen. Most galactic species have never faced true hardship. They lack the adaptive capacity humans take for granted. Lisa understood first. You want to learn how to be more like us, more resilient. Yes, Nala admitted. Your species has something the rest of us have lost, or perhaps never developed. The ability to face danger and overcome it, to not just survive but thrive under pressure. As Administrator Nala left, Jack and Lisa looked at each other. Did you ever think our normal lives would be seen as extraordinary? Lisa asked quietly. Jack shook his head. No, but I'm starting to see Earth differently now. Through their eyes. Around them, the dining hall buzzed with conversation in dozens of languages. But many eyes kept turning toward the two humans, the Deathworlders who had changed how the galaxy saw itself. The news that Earth had been classified as evolutionarily significant spread quickly through the Academy. Jack and Lisa found themselves invited to high-level meetings with the Galactic Education Council. Important officials from various worlds wanted to meet the humans and learn about Deathworld adaptation strategies. I never expected to become a diplomat, Jack said as they prepared for yet another meeting. I was just hoping to pass my classes. Lisa adjusted her academy uniform, which had been modified with a special Earth symbol, a blue and green circle with a lightning bolt through it. I know. It's weird being treated like experts when we're just regular college students. Their daily schedule now included morning classes, afternoon consulting sessions with faculty, and evening meetings with visiting officials. They were tired but excited about the impact they were making. Today's meeting was with Admiral Zorn of the Galactic Defense Force. He was a massive being with armored skin and eyes that glowed orange. Thank you for meeting with me, the Admiral said when they arrived at the conference room. I have been following your presentations with great interest. Happy to help, Jack said, trying not to stare at the Admiral's imposing form. What can we tell you about Earth? I am interested in how humans prepare for disasters, Admiral Zorn said. Our records show your species has survived multiple extinction-level events. Lisa nodded. We've had several mass extinctions in Earth's history. The dinosaurs were wiped out by an asteroid impact. More recently, we've dealt with climate changes, pandemics, and other challenges. And yet you persist, the Admiral noted. How? Jack thought about it. We plan ahead when we can. We store food, water, medical supplies. We build warning systems. We train emergency responders. But most importantly, Lisa added, we adapt quickly when things go wrong. Humans are good at improvising, at finding new solutions when the old ones don't work. Admiral Zorn's eyes glowed, brighter. This ability to improvise. It is not common among galactic species. Most follow established protocols, even when those protocols fail. The meeting continued for hours. The Admiral asked detailed questions about human emergency response, systems, disaster recovery, and how communities rebuilt after catastrophes. "You have given me much to consider," he said finally. "The Defense Force has long prepared for external threats, asteroids, solar flares, hostile species. But we have not prepared for the unexpected, for the situations where protocols fail." As the Admiral left, Administrator Nala entered the room. "I see the Admiral was impressed," she said. "As are many others. The Council has approved a new initiative based on your input." "What kind of initiative?" Lisa asked. "A Deathworld adaptation training program," Nala explained. "Selected students from various worlds will be trained in human survival techniques, emergency response, and adaptive thinking." "You want us to teach them how to be more human?" Jack asked, surprised. "In a manner of speaking, yes," Nala said. "Your species' ability to face adversity and overcome it is exactly what the galaxy needs right now." "What do you mean, right now?" Lisa's voice sharpened. "Is something happening we should know about?" Nala hesitated. "The galaxy is changing. Star systems once thought stable are showing signs of instability. Climate patterns on many worlds are shifting, and there are political tensions between some systems." "You're preparing for a crisis," Jack realized. "We are preparing for adaptation," Nala corrected. "For millennia, most galactic species have lived in protected environments shielded from natural selection. This has made us comfortable but fragile." The next day, Jack and Lisa were introduced to the first group of students, selected for the Deathworld adaptation training. 20 beings from 15 different worlds stood nervously in the Academy's largest simulation chamber. Professor Vex had expanded his environmental simulator to fill the entire room. It could now create realistic scenarios ranging from mild weather changes to full disaster simulations. "Today we begin with basic survival principles," Lisa told the group. "The first rule of survival on a death world is to be prepared. Always have supplies, always have a plan, but always be ready to change that plan." Jack continued, "We'll start by teaching you how to make fire, purify water, find shelter, and treat injuries. Then we'll move on to more complex scenarios." Over the next few weeks, Jack and Lisa led the training program. They taught the alien students how to start fires using friction, how to build shelters from available materials, how to find water in different environments, and how to apply first. As the simulations gradually became more challenging, mild rain became thunderstorms, small tremors became earthquakes. Brief food shortages became survival situations. At first, many students panicked during the simulations. Some froze in place. Others followed their pre-programmed responses even when those responses didn't work. But slowly, they began to adapt. They learned to think creatively, to work together, to improvise when needed. "They're getting it," Lisa said to Jack as they watched a group successfully build a shelter during a simulated hurricane. "They're learning to think like humans." "Not exactly like humans," Jack corrected. "They're finding their own ways to adapt." "That's even better." On the final day of the first training session, Administrator Nala and the entire Galactic Education Council came to observe. The students were put through a complex disaster scenario involving multiple challenges at once: earthquake, power failure, structural collapse, and injured team members. Jack and Lisa watched with pride as the students worked together, using the skills they had learned to handle the emergency. They weren't perfect, but they were adapting, thinking on their feet, finding solutions. When the simulation ended, the council members applauded enthusiastically. "Remarkable progress," said the head counselor, a wise-looking being with silver skin. "What these students have learned in a few weeks will help prepare our worlds for whatever challenges lie ahead." Administrator Nala turned to Jack and Lisa. "The council has a proposal for you. We would like to establish a permanent Earth Studies department at the Academy with you as the first instructors." "Us?" Jack was stunned. "But we're still students ourselves. We haven't even graduated yet." "You have knowledge that no one else in the galaxy possesses," Nala said. "The lived experience of a Deathworld species. And more importantly, you know how to teach others to think adaptively." Lisa looked at Jack. "What do you think?" Jack watched, The students from the training program, now laughing and celebrating their success. They had come so far in just a few weeks, I think, he said slowly, that this is bigger than just passing classes or getting degrees. This is about helping the galaxy prepare for change. Lisa nodded. Then let's do it. As they stood there, watching, species from across the galaxy learned to be more resilient. Jack reflected on how strangely things had turned out. They had come to learn about alien cultures, but instead had ended up teaching aliens about being human. And perhaps, in the process, they had helped ensure that whatever challenges the galaxy faced in the coming years, it would face them with some of humanity's greatest strengths: adaptability, resilience, and the unshakable determination that came from evolving on a world that had never made survival easy. A death world had created life that refused to die, and now that lesson would spread among the stars.